Today we're going to be talking about slip bobber fishing. We have had ice out recently here in Michigan, and it's time to finally get on the crappie. They're still sitting at about 30 feet of water, suspended at about 20-ish feet. We caught a bunch of ours in about 15 to 20 a couple days ago, using a similar technique to this. And pretty much what we're going to be doing, we're using a small tube with string. I've got my 6-pound monofilament, and we are going to run that up the line. Put it up there a little bit. Pull the string off the tube. Pull that tube away. Pull that slip knot. And here's where things can get a little bit interesting on the water. So I like doing this before we head out. You've got this little tiny bead. All right, this bead is what's going to be actually stopping the bobber. So as you can see, that bead will stop wherever that line is, that string. So what we're going to do, put that to our desired height. I usually do it pretty low to start with, and I can adjust up from there using kind of a shooting technique. So essentially you pull the line down, a few eyelets down, slide it, and you'll see it'll go from about here to here, we'll say. I can make a lot more progress, a lot easier doing it that way. And I'll show you that in another video. So you've got a few options in slip bobbers. This one is something that we use a lot because you can kind of have a little more of the waves absorb. We fish a lot of water that's getting 2-foot waves, so that's kind of nice to have. And also it has a grommet at the top as well, so it doesn't get beaten up nearly as bad. But recently I've switched to these adjustable bubbles. Essentially what you do is you're able to open it up to let water into the bobber itself, and that kind of helps weight the bobber and adjust for what kind of weight lure you're using. Works really well for float and fly. That's what I've been using it for bass. We started using it for crappie just because it's such a universal tool. What's cool about it too is it goes from being a slip bobber to all of a sudden you grab it and you turn it on the line and it's not going to move. So if you need to quickly adjust to get up shallow, then you can do that. And again, it's got a rubber grommet on the top, so you're not going to cut into it with your monofilament. But we're going to feed that through there. Okay, there's that. And you'll see that that's going to stop wherever that bead and string is. So a lot of times I run into in the water is guys thinking they can just run these kind of rigs with a hook and some of the split shot. That does work really well. It works really well for walleye, especially. We do that. We'll run a swivel of some sort, and that does help. It kind of cuts down on the issue of line twist. So if you feel like you need to run a swivel, be my guest. I usually don't, just because you're not going to allow line twist usually. If you're doing this technique, you're sitting still and using jig heads and stuff like that. That'll help kind of cut down on that, help the line naturally get the twist out. But I like medium-sized panfish hooks. I'd probably call this like it's a 32nd ounce jig head. This just helps drop a little bit faster. But we're going to tie that on there. And I'm going to be using a Palomar knot for this, just that's the knot I use the most. Drop it through. Pull that a little bit. Pull that bait through there. Pop it over the hook. I'm going to wet it. Kind of pulling as I wet it. Got my tag on, I'm going to clip that. Okay, that's done. We'll see if these will actually clip this, because more often than not, they struggle to. Yeah, but they're not going to. You usually got to use scissors of some sort. I usually keep Superline scissors on the boat to cut these, because these are rather resilient, what we'll say. A lot of times, too, what I'll do is I will carry a lighter with me, and this will help actually to ball the ends. So what I'll do is I'll get that, and then I will actually kind of ball the end of that. And now that's not going to pop back through there. They do the same thing on the other side. Kind of notch that down. And your basic slip bobber rig. A lot of times I do run mine as well with these shad poles or some kind of mayfly imitation depending on the time of year. But that's really all there is to it. I'm Rob to the Third Bad Poncho Outdoors. Thanks for watching, guys.